They say children should be seen and not heard. But in one African village, a child who listened more than he spoke would one day save everyone. Long before his voice carried weight, before elders paused when he spoke, there lived a boy named Kofi. He was small for his age, quiet, and often forgotten in the noise of louder children. While others ran through the fields chasing goats and dust, Kofi sat near doorways, beneath trees, or beside cooking fires, listening. He listened to everything. He listened to the way elders greeted one another, the pauses between their words, and the proverbs they slipped into conversation like hidden seeds. He listened to arguments and reconciliations, to praise and warning, to laughter that hid pain and silence that carried truth. Some villagers thought something was wrong with him. "Why does that boy never speak?" they asked his mother. She only smiled. "Because he is learning." Kofi's father died when he was young, leaving behind not riches but a reputation for wisdom. His mother often told him, "Your father spoke little, but when he did, people remembered." Those words planted themselves deep inside Kofi. As Kofi grew, the village changed. Strangers arrived, traders with smooth tongues and sharp eyes. They brought gifts and promises, but also confusion. Old agreements were questioned. Ancient boundaries were challenged. Younger men began to mock elders, calling their ways slow and outdated. The elders warned, using proverbs passed down for generations, but the youth laughed. "A river does not flow backward," the elders said. "But the world has moved on," the youth replied. Tension grew like a storm that refuses to break. One season, a dispute erupted over land that had been shared peacefully for decades. Two families claimed the same fields. Words turned bitter. Spears were sharpened. Blood seemed inevitable. The village gathered under the great baobab tree to resolve the conflict. Elders spoke. Youth shouted. Anger drowned wisdom. Kofi sat at the edge of the crowd, silent. As voices rose and tempers flared, one elder sighed deeply and whispered an old saying almost no one heard. When the drumbeat changes, the dancer must change too. Something inside Kofi stirred. For the first time in his life, he stood. The crowd fell quiet, not because they respected him, but because they were confused. Kofi spoke softly, but his words carried far. "My grandfather used to say," he began, "that when two brothers fight over land, the land laughs, because neither of them owns it." People murmured. Kofi continued, weaving proverbs together like cloth, speaking in the rhythm elders understood. He reminded them of forgotten agreements, of shared ancestors, of seasons when unity saved them from hunger and war. He did not accuse. He did not shout. He spoke their language. The elders leaned forward. The youth listened. The anger cooled. By the time Kofi finished, tears sat in hardened eyes. That day, blood did not spill, but not everyone was pleased. Some young men felt embarrassed. Others felt threatened. "How can a child speak like an elder?" they whispered. "If he continues, he will expose us." Soon after, a greater danger appeared. A neighboring community, sensing division, planned to exploit the unrest. Messengers carried lies. Boundaries were crossed at night. The drums of warning sounded too late. Fear gripped the village. Once again, people gathered beneath the baobab. This time, panic ruled. Elders argued. Youth demanded war. Mothers wept. And again, all eyes turned, unexpectedly, to Kofi. He felt fear for the first time. What if he spoke and failed? What if words were no longer enough? His mother squeezed his hand and whispered, "Speak as you have always listened." Kofi closed his eyes and remembered every story, every proverb, every lesson. He spoke of unity as a shield, of patience as strength, of how wars begin when words die. Then he did something no one expected. He quoted a proverb belonging to the rival community, one he had learned by listening to traveling elders years ago. The crowd gasped. "You speak our enemy's wisdom," someone hissed. "No," Kofi replied calmly. "I speak the language of elders. It belongs to all of us." The message was carried to the rival leaders. They recognized their own words, spoken with respect. Talks replaced threats. Boundaries were restored. The village was saved, without a single spear thrown. Years passed. Kofi grew into a man known far beyond his village. He never became a warrior or a king. He became something rarer, a bridge. When conflicts arose, people said, "Send for the one who listens." When asked how he learned to speak so wisely, Kofi smiled. "I did not learn to speak," he said. "I learned to listen." And from that time on, elders began teaching children not just how to talk, but how to hear, because they learned a powerful truth. Those who listen deeply carry the voices of generations. And sometimes, the smallest voice speaks the loudest when it carries the language of elders.